Hello, back again with the blue cards from Shadows Over Innistrad Remastered, going through the card gallery, kind of giving my thoughts on the set. One notable thing that I miss over the white cards is that Open the Armory was not included, which is a really big hit for like Hammer, and I'm really disappointed that it's not in the set. Let's get into the blue cards. First line here, Advanced Stitchwing, Compelling Deterrence, and Confirm Suspicions. Firstly, Compelling Deterrence, not great, we're going to cross that off the list. A neat effect, but not good enough for Explorer Pioneer. Advanced Stitchwing's a little bit more interesting, but still not probably going to make it. It is the kind of card that we'd normally see playing something like Dredge, but we just have so many other good options. Confirmed Suspicions is also an interesting one. Obviously, 5 mana counter spells, not normally pretty big, but Investigate 3 times is pretty powerful. Either if you have a way to take advantage of the artifact, if you have a way to reduce its cost with something like a Mind Splice Apparatus. If you're playing it, you'll play it as like a one-of. Moving on down the line, we've got Convolute, Deny Existence, and Drag Under. Convolute and Deny Existence, pretty bad counter spells, obviously nothing going on there, and then Drag Under, also too expensive. Dragnyard, Explorers, and Dragonite, Corpse Trawler, nothing really going on here, but Epiphany of the Dragnyard is an interesting one. Instant X blue, reveal the top X+1 cards of your library, separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, it goes into your hand, and the other goes into your graveyard. Kind of like a build your own Fact to Fiction effect, like Fact to Fiction for X, but obviously you choose the cards. It does a really good job of getting you card advantage and also putting cards in your graveyard. The fact that the extra cards go into the graveyard is where the power lies here, and it does crop up from time to time. Again, not a huge impact, but it's a card that could pop up. Next up, Erdwall Illuminator, obviously investigates meta cards, a bit too slow for Explorer Pioneer, and similarly Extant Cultist, just not really up to much of the format. However, Extant Flux is a card that's seen play from time to time, so you've seen the power of things like Ephemerate in Modern as that style of effect. Exile creature you control, return to the battlefield, and so this control, if it's a spirit, it's a counter. Next up here, and quite a lot of chaff in blue, I guess, but Fleeting Memories, too slow. Fogwalker, not great, and then Forgotten Creation, not really doing anything, unfortunately. So, moving on down. Guys to the Archives, yeah, no. But Giraffes Masterpiece is an interesting one, because I believe Giraffes Masterpiece was previously a mythic rare, but 3B blue for a 7/7 with flying, gets -1/-1 for each card in your hand, but then has this 3 in a blue, discard 3 cards, return it from the... It's not a card that's seen a ton of play in Pioneer, but it's something that could present like a sweet deck. It's Imprisoned in the Moon, downgraded from a rare to a common here, 2 in a blue, enchantment aura, enchant creature, land, or planeswalker. Enchanted permanent is a colorless land with tap, add colorless, and loses all other card types and abilities. Mono blue doesn't have access to loads of good removal, especially for planeswalkers or creatures, to be honest, and being able to basically turn them off is pretty nice, There are a few different cards for mono blue in the format. Now, speaking of that, if we scroll back up for a minute to E, there is actually an important card missing here. Engulf the Shore, a card that I've talked about, and I've been really excited for it to actually come to Arena, so it's an Explorer, is not in the set. 3 in a blue instant, returns to their owner's hands all creatures with toughness less than or equal to the number of islands you control. It's a really nice way for you to get back into the game with mono blue, especially again with something like Mind Slice. There are so many cards in the set, like 280 or something like that, and there's so much chaff, as we've covered, and for them not to have, like, again, Open the Armory, Engulf the Shore, Behold the Beyond, which is a staple in the Lotus Field deck, is pretty ridiculous. I don't know what's going on there. Alright, continuing down the list. Ingenious Scab, yep, okay, not doing anything. Invasive Surgery is a pretty nice sideboard card. Blue, counter target sorcery spell, and Delirium if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Search the graveyard, hand, and library of that spell's controller for any number of cards of the same name as that spell, and exile them. Hey, not every deck's very great at turning Delirium on, but countering sorceries for 1 mana, pretty cool, and obviously that kind of like extraction ability, very handy versus some combo decks like Creativity, for example. Jace Unraveling Secrets, my actual personal favourite incarnation of Jace. Not necessarily that it's like amazing, though I have played it in Explorer and Pioneer, and it is already on Arena. +1, scry 1, draw a card, -2, return target creature on his hand, and then you get an emblem with whenever an opponent casts their first spell each turn, counter it. Fairly solid, is like a decent win condition in something like Blue-Black Control. Obviously, ticks up drawing cards, your opponent kind of has to deal with it, and obviously if you do Ultimate, it's like close to game over. The next few cards here, Jace's Scrutiny, Laboratory Butte, Manic Scribe, not really up to much. So here, Mausoleum Wanderer and Nebelgast Herald are actually already on Arena. I'm torn on them printing Mausoleum Wanderer in the set because of duplicate protection, and obviously opening like your 5th, 6th, 7th copies of rares is not very fun. But hey, having it in here so that you can kind of open most of the Spirits deck from one set is pretty cool. Nebelgast Herald is kind of fallen out of favour in the Mono Blue Spirit deck, despite being on Arena as well, but is a little bit better in the Bant Spirits deck with Collected Company, which is now more viable because you've got Spell Queller and Selfless Spirit, and so might crop up a little bit more, but hey, it's fine. Mind's Dilation, 7 mana, really cool enchantment. Too slow, really, for the format. If you're spending that amount of mana, you better be winning the game. Alright, cruising on down. Ongoing Excavation is a sweet one. Whenever one or more creatures your opponent controls deals damage to the player, Investigate. Hasn't really seen much play in Pioneer, but is a cool effect to have around. Piece of the Puzzle is actually an important card for Phoenix, though that deck is missing a couple of cards. Treasure Cruise, Temporal Trespass, all pretty busted delve spells that hopefully we'll get at some point, but remains to be seen. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library, put up to 2 instant sorcery cards from among them into your hand, and the best bit is that the rest go into your graveyard. And then Pour Over Pages is a pretty important one as well. Lotus Field. It's missing tools. I just talked about how Behold the Beyond actually just isn't in the set, which is a loss for it, for sure. Pour Over Pages here. 3 blue, draw 3 cards, untap up to 2 lands, and then discard a card. Obviously, you're trying to untap Lotus Field to make a bunch of mana. We still don't have Hidden Strings yet, which is from, I believe, Dragon's Maze, and hopefully we get that soon. Alright. Carrying on the theme of, like, let's print all the spirit cards in one set, which is pretty nice for people, like, coming into the format. It means they can just buy Shadows packs and just open all the spirits rares. Rattle Chains here is obviously an important card for the spirits deck, both the mono blue version and the Bant version. 1 blue, 2/1 flash flying. When it enters the battlefield, target spirit gets hexproof turn to turn, and then you can cast spirits as though they had flash. Really nice alongside Selfless Spirit, which you touched on when going over the white cards. The other cards here, Rise from the Tides. I've been close to playing it in, like, Lutri builds. Just because you want to have some interesting win conditions, and obviously you can copy it. It is obviously really, really slow, probably not going to make an impact on the format. Spontaneous Mutation is also a little interesting. Blue for an enchantment with flash. Enchanted creature gets -X/-0, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Again, I've talked a bit about how mono blue hasn't got great removal. We have things like Witness Protection, which you can often play in the sideboard of mono blue decks, but that is obviously coming at a sorcery speed. This having flash is a nice thing, and if you're putting cards in your graveyard anyway, it might crop up from time to time. Moving on down the line, Storm Rider Spirit, not very interesting. Summary Dismissal is actually pretty neat counter spell. 2 blue, instant, exile all other spells and counter all abilities. Really, really good at dealing with things where you have a cast trigger along with the actual spell. Really good versus Eldrazi, like Emrakul, Ulamog, that kind of thing. Also the recent addition of Cityscape Leveler, which is an excellent tool out of the Karn toolbox from decks like Mono Green. Hey, Submarine Dismissal does take care of all of that. Normally not a card you want to main deck, but you might play a copy in your sideboard. Take Inventory is a cute one. 1 in a blue, draw a card, and then draw cards equal to the number of cards named Take Inventory in your graveyard. We obviously have the instant version of this, and so unless you're looking to really, like, mill yourself and play both of them, probably not going to make it through. And then the last couple of cards for blue here, Tattered Haunter and Wharf Infiltrator. Tattered Haunter, not constructed playable, I'm afraid. And that is all the blue cards. Again, I still can't believe Engulf the Shore. And also Open the Armory. We'll see what goes on as we kind of go through the rest of the set. I've already mentioned Behold the Beyond is not in here either. Some weird decisions from WotC, to be honest. Not sure how I feel about that. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, please do drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting black, red, green, and then a video with all the multicolor, colorless artifact stuff over the next few days before the set comes out on the 21st. At that point, I'll have a bunch of constructed stuff as well. But hey, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Peace out.